What's up guys, Mr. Wicklehouse again, and today we're going to be talking about complementary angles, supplementary angles, and some other stuff that goes along with that. Alright, let's get started. So what is a complementary angle? A complementary angle is two angles are complementary if the sum of their measures is 90 degrees. So thinking about that angle addition postulate that you guys did earlier, if you have two angles put together and you add them together and they end up equaling 90 degrees, they're complementary. So what is the measure of an angle that is complementary to 62 degrees? And then we want to try to sketch these out. Whatever on that. But let's talk about this part first. So I know complementary means that two angles added together, so some angle that I don't know plus 62 has to be equal to 90 degrees. Well, I'm going to subtract the 62 from both sides, and I get x equal to 28. So the angle that is complementary to negative 62 is 28. Okay. Now, if I wanted to go and sketch this angle out, well, I can go and grab my trusty protractor here. This is, I think, is the easiest way to do it. I'm going to make a straight line down here, and I'm going to make a mark up here at 90, and I'm going to join that together. And I guess I need to find the center of that. Go back to this. Center of that is going to be at that point. So right there, join these two together so that I made a 90-degree angle. And then I'm going to measure out this 62. I'm coming here to the center, just like we did when we practiced with the protractor. Coming to 62. Put a little mark on 62 here. And there we go. We just drew our two complementary angles. This one is 62. This one is 28. Easy peasy. Alright, moving on. Supplementary. What is supplementary? Well, two angles are supplementary if the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. This is just like the complementary thing that we just did. So it says, what is the measure of an angle that is supplementary to 22 degrees? Well, I want them to add up to be 180. So I got 22 plus x equals 180. So I subtract 22. And I get the measure of the angle to be 158 degrees. We'd say sketch these two angles. I'm not going to do that. If you want to do that on your own, grab a protractor, knock yourself out. Alright, moving on. Let's think about a few things here. So let's put our thinking caps on. So I have two angles, both are congruent. What does congruent mean? That's right, that they're equal to one another, equal. And they're supplementary. Supplementary means, remember, means they add to be 180 degrees. So if the two angles have to be equal, what is the measure of each angle? Well, what measure plus what measure adds up to be 180. There's a whole bunch of possibilities, but I know that these both have to be equal to one another. Okay? If we think about it for a minute, then I know that if I take 180 and divide it by 2, I'm going to get two equal measures. That's going to be 90 degrees. So the measure of each angle is going to be 90 degrees. Another way to think about that is if I want to call the angle x, and it's going to be the same angle, so we're going to say x plus x equals 180, then I know that 2x equals 180. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 90. Okay? Alright. Now look at this one. Two angles are both congruent and complementary. What is the measure of each angle? This one's a little harder, but I know that congruent means equal, and complementary means that they add to 90 degrees. Add to 90 degrees. Well, again, I could just take 90 divided by 2, and I'm going to get 45 degrees. Or I could do it like I did this and say x plus x equals 90. Then 2x equals 90. Then I'm dividing by 2, and x equals 45. Okay? All right. Here's one a little bit more complicated. The complement of an angle is twice the measure of the angle. Whew. Man, these word things, they will come back and get you, won't they? Okay. So I need to think of, first of all, complement means what? That's right. Add to 90 degrees. Okay. Well, what is it that I don't know? What is my unknown? Well, it's the measure of this angle, right? Well, I take my unknown and we'll say that that angle is going to be equal to x. Well, I know that the complement of this angle, or x, plus something else, is going to be equal to 90 degrees, and that something else is twice the measure of this angle. So twice the measure of this angle is going to be 2x. Right? Well, then x plus 2x is 3x, and that equals 90 degrees. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equal to 30. So the complement of the one angle is 30 degrees. The measure of the other angle that's complementary to this angle is going to be 2x, which is going to be 60. Okay? Alright. This last one, the supplement of an angle is half the measure of the angle. What is the measure of each angle? I'm going to let you think about that one on your own. We'll talk about it in class tomorrow. Alright. Moving on. Can we draw two angles that are obtuse and supplementary? Oh, what does this word obtuse mean? Well, obtuse is any angle that is bigger than 90 degrees. So if I'm going to draw an angle that is obtuse, it's going to look something like this. It just has to be bigger than 90 degrees. Well, can I have two angles that are obtuse like this that can be supplementary? Well, thinking back to what we talked about back here, if they're congruent or equal to one another, they're 90 degrees, that looks like this. Alright? Well, if I have this angle here that's bigger than that, and I try to add another one to that, that's going to be way bigger than 180 degrees. So I can't draw two angles that are obtuse and supplementary. Okay? There's no way, because these two together, obtuse, bigger than 90 degrees, that's way bigger than 180. Okay, look at this one. You draw two angles that are acute and supplementary. Well, what does acute mean? This is obtuse. Acute is a smaller angle like this. This is acute. Less than 90 degrees. Less than 90 degrees. This one is greater than 90 degrees. Well, if I have two angles that are less than 90 degrees, so let's say right here, put that in, and I put two of them together, well, that's not going to quite make it to 180. So there's no way. Okay? I want you guys to think about these last two on your own, and then we'll talk about them in class tomorrow. Okay, so can you draw two angles that are obtuse and complementary? Can you draw two angles that are acute and complementary? Okay, so think about that. Okay, here's a few more last examples that we'll talk about, and then we'll be done with this video. So if 35 degrees is the complement of angle B, what is the measure of angle B? This is very similar to what we did with the x's and stuff earlier. Well, 35 degrees is the complement. Remember, add to 90 degrees of angle B. Then I know that 35 plus B has to be equal to 90. I'll subtract 35 from both sides. So then B has to be 55. Okay. Here's another one. 28 and 2 plus 6x are complementary. Remember, complementary means add to 90. So 28 plus this other angle, 2 plus 6x, is equal to 90. Add these two together, 28 and 2, that's 30 plus 6x equals 90. Obviously I'm solving for x. I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. I get 6x equals 60. Divide by 6, I get x equal to 10. Here's my solution. Can you think of another way to do this? If you can, let me know in class tomorrow. Okay. Here's another one. This time we're talking about supplementary angles. So what's supplementary mean? That's right. Add to 180. So angle C is the supplement of 111, which means that C plus 111 equals 180. Subtract 111, I get C equal to 69. 69 plus 111 is 180. Okay? Look at this last one yourself. See if you can figure it out. We'll talk about it in class tomorrow. Alright? That's all for today, guys. I'll talk to you later.